All right, Mitch, how we doing?
I am doing great, Garrett. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. It's December 19th as we're recording. It's Thursday. It's probably our last. It's not probably. We were just talking about this off air. It is definitely our last podcast of 2024.
Yep.
We'll be back in 2025, but it's been a great year. We're looking forward to a great Christmas and New Year's break, but I'm excited to podcast this morning. So I'm on social media quite a bit. And I just enjoy like silly stuff like blind rank this and like and that kind of stuff. We've done some of that before. Last night I was watching one that was like blind rank the best duos in NBA history, and it was like Shaq and Kobe, and then Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, Michael and Scottie, LeBron and Dwayne Wade, stuff like that. So that was fun.
Okay, well. Before you go any further, non-blind rank, who would you say is the best duo of all time?
So
there's some nasty duos you
correct.
just mentioned.
And then I'm trying to remember what the fifth duo was. Stockton and Malone. They put Stockton and Malone fifth, which I would as well. They ended up with they blind ranked it, but they ended up saying, even if this was a non-blind ranking, we would have done the same list.
Okay.
So they ended up with LeBron and D Wade number 1, Kobe, Shaq number 2, Jordan, Pippen 3, Steph and Klay 4, and Stockton, Malone 5. I would make a case for Kobe and Shaq being number 1.
Yeah, prime Kobe and Shaq sounds
like all of those.
To watch it,
all those duos are nasty. But like if you did a 2-on-2 or a 2-on-2 tournament with those 5 duos, Kobe and Shaq are gonna skunk everybody. Like that's a nasty duo. Like it's unquestionable that Shaq is the most dominant player in NBA history. Everyone says that, like most physically dominant. And then Kobe's Kobe, man. Like he's Michael Jr. makes him sound like not that impressive, but like he is the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan since Michael Jordan. And so, like, I would say Kobe, Shaq. I think all those duos are great. Steph and Klay, you might even put 5, just because I don't know. They're probably the best backcourt of all time. Backcourt being your point guard, shooting guard. Front court being your forward, power forward, and center. Like they're probably the best backcourt of all time.
2-on-2. I don't think Steph and Klay are taking any of those guys.
I mean, you could make the case that like Shaq could not guard either of them on the 3-point line, so they'd have a ton of open threes, I guess. But like, it goes both ways. Like neither of them could guard Shaq.
Yeah.
Even doubling Shaq, like they're not gonna stand a chance. So yeah, I think when the thing was Kobe and Shaq were the first. In the blind ranking video I watched, Kobe and Shaq were the first duo mentioned, and they put them at 2. And I was like, I can't think of another duo that I would put ahead of them.
Yeah.
Like, and they kept saying, we feel like LeBron and Wade are going to pop up, and if they do, we want to put them number 1. I'm like, even LeBron and Wade, like, I don't think I'd put LeBron and Wade above Shaq and Kobe. So, anyways, that's my personal opinion.
Was Pippen with Jordan when he won all 6?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pippen won all 6 with Jordan. Rodman won 3 of them with Jordan, the latter 3. But Pippen was there for all 6.
So, like, I don't know if the duos means dominant on a 6-man or a 5-man team, or if it means if it's 2-on-2 or what.
Yeah.
Like, people might have different intentions with where they're ranking them, but Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen won 6 rings together.
Yeah, in that case, you'd have to go Jordan, Pippen, Steph and Klay, Kobe and Shaq, LeBron and Wade, Stockton, Malone, because I think Jordan and Pippen won 6, Steph and Klay won 4 together, Kobe and Shaq only won 3 together, Kobe won 2 without Shaq, and Shaq won 1 without Kobe.
With the Magic?
I wish. That's the big, like... In 96 or 97, whenever he left, it was over money. Like we were not willing to pay him. And if he's openly said if we were willing to pay him, he would have stayed. But the Lakers offered him more money and he left. And I think he would have won championships in Orlando if we had paid him.
Yeah.
So that is a thing. But then Who else was there? Oh, LeBron and Wade only won 2 together. They went to 4 finals, but they won 2 together. And I don't think Stockton and Malone won any, right? Am I crazy?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Stockton and Malone were
those names. I don't know that well.
the Utah Jazz.
The other ones I recognize.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have to fact check myself. I think they won 0, but anyways.
Huh.
So anyway, all right. So I want you to blind rank quarterbacks, and I'll admit that I am unprepared for this. I'm just gonna pull names out of the hat.
Man.
So I don't have a pre-prepared list.
That's the worst part about it.
I'm just gonna say names.
Okay.
Active, inactive, whatever. Some of them I probably know way less about them than you, anyways. But,
Possibly.
So I may even say a name, and you're gonna be like, "That's not a quarterback." So we'll see what
Calvin
happens.
Johnson.
Okay.
Oh man, so it's just
There's 5 slots.
5 slots. I'm ranking them just all time and their abilities.
All time.
Okay.
Ben Roethlisberger,
Ooh, Ben Roethlisberger.
because we were talking about him this morning at coffee.
Yeah, we were. Man, he had a great start to his career. This is risky because I have no idea who's coming up. That's the purpose of
Well, here's the
blind
thing: is
ranking.
neither do I.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna put him at 4.
okay, Ben Roethlisberger at 4.
He was a very good QB. Won 2 rings early in his career. Went to a 3rd Super Bowl. Padded the stats throughout his career. Like,
Okay.
There's better guys out there though. So, but you can, especially you can control. You could, bring up like Brandon Weeden next, and
No, I'm not gonna do anything crazy like that. I don't think. Dan Marino.
oh, Dan Marino. Shoot. Obviously, I can't put him at 5. I wouldn't put him at 4. Let's just go.
Why can't you put him 5? Ben has more rings.
Yeah, I think things factor into that more than rings. I think
Agreed.
Dan Marino's a better QB.
I agree. Okay, I'm with you.
I'm not an only rings guy.
The argument is always like, rings. Your rings are the biggest, carry the most weight. Which, back to the NBA, like Jordan has 6 rings, and everyone's like, well, Jordan's better than LeBron because he has 6, and LeBron has 4, and we're like, okay, well, if we're judging by rings. Like Bill Russell has 11.
Yep.
So is he the greatest of all time? No, he's not.
Right.
Anyways,
All right. This might shock you. I'm gonna go 2.
2 for Dan.
Dan at 2.
Wow. Okay.
Something if he had a few rings, people would consider him the greatest of all time.
Fair enough.
He was a great QB. First QB to throw over 5,000 yards.
See, like I said, you know more about him than I did. He went to a Super Bowl, right?
Went to a Super Bowl,
Okay.
lost to lost to the 49ers, kind of got smoked, and then never went back to the Super Bowl.
Let's go.
One more fun fact for you. Dan Marino's last game he ever played, a playoff loss to the Jaguars, 62-7.
Oof.
Last game he ever played.
That's the last time the Jaguars won.
Probably last playoff win in team history.
I'm a Jaguars fan, by the way. I don't like to tell people that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm scared now. I've got 1, 3, and 5 left.
Peyton Manning.
Oh, man.
What, you don't like him?
Shoot. No, I love him. Dang. I have to assume. Somebody that is better than him might come up. I got to put him at 3.
Okay.
Got to put Peyton at 3.
That's probably right. I mean, you wouldn't
toss up
put him
for
behind,
me.
You wouldn't put him behind Ben.
I might flip Dan and Peyton if I had the option.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
I thought about putting Marino at 3, but okay, we got Marino at 2, Peyton at 3, Roethlisberger at 4.
Because Peyton did set several records, and he won with 2 different teams, which I think is impressive.
He had 2. I should know this. 2 Super Bowl wins.
It's like LeBron has never. I keep going back to the NBA. LeBron has never played for a team that he didn't win a championship for. Like, and I saw this thing the other day. Like, if LeBron, LeBron has played 4 Hall of Fame careers in one. Like his first stint in Cleveland, Hall of Fame career, even though he didn't win. He won. He went to the finals a couple times. Whatever. His stint in Miami, went to the finals 4 times, won twice. That's a Hall of Fame career. Went back to Cleveland, won a championship, Hall of Fame career. Went to LA, won a championship, Hall of Fame career. Like, he's had 4 Hall of Fame careers in one career.
They've said that kind of like with Tom Brady. like if you just take the stats and rings from his 20s, his 30s, and his 40s, you've got a Hall of Fame career, either one.
3 times, yeah. All right, so we have 1 is Open, 2 is Dan, 3 is Peyton, 4 is Ben. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. Don't worry. I'm also not trying to like
make it too easy.
Yeah. All right, I want to see what you do with this. Patrick Mahomes.
1.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That fast?
Yep.
Over Dan, Peyton, and Ben.
Mainly because he's over Roethlisberger. He's a great QB. I do think he has the potential. Like, I mean, he needs, how old is he? He's almost 30. He needs at least 10 years of the pace he's been on to even enter the conversation. But I think based on his age, his rings, and his stats, statistically, he could pass Brady in those categories.
Yeah.
I doubt he will. That's what made Brady so impressive, is that we were talking in our ministries a little bit recently about the work ethic Brady had and the discipline that he had.
Yes,
like, it's much more than just raw talent. And so it's unlikely. I don't want to talk too much about luck like it's a real thing, but like, got to be a little lucky to not have major injuries.
Yeah.
Which Brady did, like tears ACL in 2008 and missed a year, and then still had a great, career after. But yeah, I think when it's all, if he's not already making the case, when it's all said and done, Mahomes, I'd say he's already above Ben, and he's pushing being above Peyton and Dan. So I feel okay putting him there.
He has 2 rings already.
Is 3, right?
Mahomes?
Yeah.
See, that tells you how much.
They beat the 49ers twice. 49ers twice, and they beat the Eagles.
Because they're about to 3-peat.
They're taking
his 4th ring total.
Yeah.
I'm tracking with you now.
And he's been to 4 Super Bowls. They lost to the Bucs, which he got smacked around. But he's already been to 4. He's won 3. He's like 29. He's thrown for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns before. Like, he's doing all the things he needs to be doing. So I'm okay putting him at 1.
Side note, is he playing this weekend?
I would assume so. I haven't really kept up on it much, but I know he sprained his ankle or something, and they didn't even say day to day. They say he's week to week.
Well, I saw something, like someone made the case that they're 13-1, so like just sit him to the playoffs, even if it's not that bad. Like, who cares? Which I could get on board with, I guess.
Well, they play a week from today, a rare Wednesday NFL game, Christmas Day. Chiefs Steelers. I'm sure he'll want to play on
NFL
Christmas.
games Christmas Day. That's the day for NBA games.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, there's
NFL's taking over, dude.
What the heck, man? Historically, there's always 5 NBA games on Christmas Day.
Oh, wow.
Noon, 2:30, 5, 7:30, and 10. There's always 5 games.
That's pretty fun. The Magic play on Christmas ever?
No, it's always like the best matchups, like the matchups everyone wants to watch. So like back in the Dwight Howard days, we played on Christmas like several years in a row, but we haven't played on Christmas in a long time.
Okay.
So we're not playing on Christmas this year, but it's always like marquee matchups kind of thing. And so
that's fun.
That's sad. There's NFL games.
NFL games on. Yeah, I like
football
dude. More than basketball, so I'm happy.
I know.
Even though I'm sad because I'm sure I'm not going to really be able to watch much of it because it's Christmas. And
with your 5 slot, your number 5 slot, I'm not going to say Tom Brady. That'd be dumb. But I'll say someone
if we're ranking their speed, that would be about right.
I don't know a whole lot about him, so I'll just say John Elway.
Okay.
Tell me about John. I just know he was a quarterback, basically, is all I know.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, he definitely would be above Ben. I wondered if I should have put Ben at 5 to start, just to save that 4 slot.
Who did he play for?
So, fun fact, he was drafted by the Colts, but pitched a big fit about how he was never going to play for them and he was going to do other things, and so they traded him to the Broncos, where he played his whole career.
I knew that, yeah. I had no idea.
He went to 5 Super Bowls. In
5?
He went to 5. In the 80s, he went to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years and lost all 3 of them to the Redskins, Giants, and 49ers, if you're curious. Mm-hmm. And then this is what's actually really interesting to me. I wasn't I guess I was alive. I was a young kid. And in 97 and 98, the Broncos went to 2 Super Bowls in a row and won both of them. They beat the Packers and they beat the Falcons and then he retired. And
Fair
to
enough.
me, it's like, why didn't you want to chase that third year? Like, I guess it's everybody would love to ride off into the sunset kind of thing, but maybe I don't give up on things soon enough because I'm like, what if you could have gone to 3 in a row or 4 in a row?
How old was he in 98?
I think he was high 30s.
High single digits.
Mid double digits. Approaching mid double digits. He was 56% older than when he got drafted.
What will he be in 2025?
So he might have been 38 or something like that. I think he was getting up there.
That's what Peyton did that for the Broncos. Like won a Super Bowl and then retired.
Yeah, but he
was old.
To be honest, in my opinion, that doesn't really matter. When it comes down to it, I don't think that year should help his legacy. Like he was the starting quarterback for a team that won a Super Bowl. He was awful that year.
Yeah.
He had
defense won that Super Bowl.
Through the first half of the season, he had like 17 interceptions, was injured. I'm almost speculating that he wasn't that hurt. He was just playing bad, but didn't play half of the year and then came back for like the AFC Championship game and then threw a pick and no touchdowns in the Super Bowl, and they won. Their defense was amazing that year.
That's
they were
not
just
the
playing
year.
lights out.
It was the year before that when Tebow played for them, right? And won a playoff game?
Yeah, 2 years before that.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
It wasn't their Super Bowl year, right?
Yeah, Tebow was in 2011. That was with Tebow. 2012, Peyton went, had a pretty good year. 2013, he had an amazing year, 5,477 yards, 55 touchdowns.
A simple number that everyone will remember.
and got whooped by the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, 43-8.
Yes.
2016, he had sorry, I jumped way ahead. 2014, Patriots beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, but then 2015, they won the Super Bowl. So he played for the Broncos for 4 years before they won a Super Bowl.
Did he really?
Yeah.
No. I thought it was like a Brady situation.
Sorry, 3 years. 3 years.
Still,
2012, he was hurt. 2013, he had that crazy year. They lost the Super Bowl. 2015, they won.
Right. But so Brady played for the Bucs for 1 year, right? And that was it.
Yep.
And
well, he played for 2 years, but he won the first year he joined them.
And then played another year.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I realized Peyton played for the Broncos for 3 years. I thought it was like a one and done.
Yeah.
Huh. Learn something new every day. All right, so you ended up with Mahomes, Marino.
Wait, 2011 was the year he was. Anyways.
You had Patrick, Dan, Peyton, Ben, John.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. What if I had said Tim Tebow? You would have put him number 1.
In potential that we never know of, yeah.
He's undefeated as a starting quarterback in the playoffs. Is that true?
No.
Dang it.
He has won a playoff game every year that he has started the playoff game.
Yeah, like I said.
That was the 2011 season.
Oh, man.
When they beat the Steelers in overtime, but then the Pats smoked them the next week and went and lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
My senior year of high school, and I got to stay home from school the next day.
Yeah, I would too. Sad. All right, good
the
times.
Magic lost the Super Bowl.
Good time, dude. If I was thinking about this, I've been thinking about it more and more in recent seasons because I think we're like outside of 95 and like 2009, I think we're as close to a championship as we've ever been. And so I was thinking about like, what if we went back to the finals, and what if we were like up 3-2 and game 6 was in Orlando and the tickets cost like $5,000. Like, I'm going to find a way to go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to not go. I'll be in that arena when we win a championship. There's no question about that. And so I'm like, should I start saving now? Like, what should I do? Should I take out a second mortgage now?
I'll send you a video of this guy who documented sneaking into the Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh.
I think he went with this cliche, like if you just have a ladder, you can get into anywhere. And like he just was carrying a ladder and like got into the stadium. But it was like the weekend before the Super Bowl. And so he was kind of videoing and documenting himself throughout the weekend, hiding from security and sleeping in these like obscure places. And then
I think
eventually Super Bowl Sunday came, and when the crowds got big enough, he got out. but then I think he was talking about it, or somebody recognized him, and they ended up kicking him out because like word got around and someone told on him or something.
And they were looking for him.
Maybe.
Yeah,
but it might take you a full week to really get in there, and
that's crazy. But like this is the last thing about sports. I've been a Magic fan my whole life, and like we've never won. We've come very close a couple times. This is our 36th season as a franchise. We've never won. Like we've been to the finals twice, but
I don't know they've been twice.
Yeah,
remember the years?
95 and 09. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
We've been twice. And it's just 95 was Penny and Shaq, and we got swept by the Rockets. And then I guess it was 08, sorry. 09. Maybe it was the 08-09 season. I might have to fact check myself again.
That's always tricky.
But we lost to the Lakers, Kobe and Shaq. No, sorry. Kobe and Powell. Not Kobe and Shaq. Shaq was in Miami. Kobe and Powell. Actually, Shaq might have been in Boston by that point. Doesn't matter. But Kobe and Powell beat us in 5 games. And game 5 was in Orlando, and I was there when Kobe won that championship.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
So I was at that final. So
How much were the tickets back then?
I don't know. We were season ticket holders. So like we had tickets.
Oh,
but
that's really convenient.
I'm not a season ticket holder right now.
Yeah.
And so I've been to a finals game in person where the Magic played.
Man.
But I want to be in the room, in the building, even if it's an away game. Like if Game 7 is like in Denver or something, I'm flying to Denver. Like I will not miss that game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't care how much it costs. I do care, but like I don't.
So were you in 09? Were you like devastated and really bummed they lost? Or was it like kind of cool to see Kobe win a ring? Like you get to see some superstars.
In hindsight, well, even in the moment, like you're watching a legend win I think it was his 4th ring at the time. So even in the moment, it was super cool. But like when he died in 2016, it was like, man, I was in the building.
Yeah.
Like I was 100 feet away, not 100 feet away, but I was like several hundred feet away from the dude when he like raised his 4th trophy. Like that's pretty sick. So like it's always going to be a special memory. But yeah, I would definitely want to be in the building if we ever win one. I don't know how we'll make it happen, but we're close, man. We're on the brink. Anyways, we should probably talk about some ministry.
Good if you want to.
We podcasted a week ago, so we don't have a ton to catch up on. And then I do want to talk about goals today. So we went to, we go to coffee once a month with a bunch of youth pastors, student pastors from Lake County, which is a pretty big county. And this morning we talked about goals for 2025, personal goals, ministry goals. And so I'll admit that this conversation and topic is not original to me. The conversation started this morning in Starbucks, but I want to just continue it on this
God
podcast.
Goes to Starbucks.
Yeah, we got good book, Dr. Paul Copian. I told you I had several classes with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I do. I have a couple of his books just because I've heard about them and my interest of apologetics, things like that. But I've got, Carrie had him as a student too, and she has his ethics book that's like 1,000 pages long, and I'm like, I wonder if I should read that one next year.
Super.
We'll talk about that when we get to goals.
Probably read 25 books next year. Just Dr. Copian, super nice guy. Like sometimes those guys are kind of like standoffish or whatever. Like he's super accessible, nice, like really, really nice guy. Also brilliant, but really nice guy. What's happened in the past week? So we had a Sunday of ministry, which Sunday is a really big day. And what did we do on Sunday? Let's think through this. So we had small groups. Oh, Pancake Day. It was Pancake Day. So once a month we have Pancake Day, and this month was led by our 6th grade girls. So that was awesome.
They did well.
They did a great job. They have a lot of girls, great leaders in that group. We had a mom of one of the 6th grade girls come help as well. Those days are always just fun because the whole loft, the whole student space just smells like bacon. Actually, no bacon this weekend, but it smells like pancakes. Like,
it smelled good.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that was fun. Groups were good. Our attendance is looking great for this time of year. Like compared to last year, like just attendance is awesome. So, numbers are not everything, but they are something. And so that we've been watching those closely, and they've been looking really good.
And our young adults group had maybe its best attendance since we rebirthed that.
Rebirthed it. yeah, it's a good way to put it. We rebirthed it. It was reborn. in August, which is our Sunday morning group for 18 to 25-year-olds. And you are right. That's probably the biggest thing to celebrate attendance-wise from the weekend was they had their largest attendance since its rebirth. That is true. Yeah, it was a great. It's just I don't know, man. It's just like we're in such a like I don't want to take it for granted. Like we looked at the numbers from last year, but then we looked at the numbers from 2 years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
When we checked out those numbers, like I don't want to take for granted what we're experiencing right now because like our leadership team, our volunteer team is so healthy. Our student ministry attendance is so healthy and balanced between middle school and high school and guys and girls and in all of our small groups, and like our content and our systems and our processes are so healthy, and the culture in our ministry is so healthy. Like I just don't want to. Like, I just don't want to be like, oh, it's just another Sunday, nothing special happened. Like, oh, we had a pretty special day. Like, it was awesome. Like, there are student ministries probably listening right now, like, across the nation that would kill to have a Sunday like we just had. And so, like, and I say that humbly. Like, we just, like, I don't want to look past that and just kind of write it off. Like, oh, there's nothing extra that happened on that Sunday. Nothing special happened. Like, we had a pretty special day. Like, it was pretty awesome what we experienced on Sunday. Even though it was like a normal quote unquote Sunday. So pretty pumped about that. Last night was our last midweek of 2024 in student ministry, our last late night of 2024 in college ministry. Let's flip things around. Start with late night. Tell us about our last late night of 2024.
So, man, I'm just going to lead by saying I'm very glad we met and we still had late night. A few weeks ago, as we were prepping for our 2-week series we did last week and this week, I noticed on the calendar, or Elizabeth pointed out, that we have been promoting that our final late night of the school year.
Sorry, Elizabeth's the best. Like, I remember 2 days ago or something, like someone came in our offices and like handed us a card or something. I don't remember. And the three of us were in there, and I gave it to Elizabeth, and I was like, you need to hold on to this because you're the only one of the three of us that won't lose it. It's like, she just catches stuff like that you and I just won't ever catch.
Yeah. So she pointed out, like, do you realize on our calendar that we've had all year, or all school year, that it says December 11th is our final late night of the school year? And I'm thinking, like, well, how do we do that? Like, we have our 2-week series, and, you know, I didn't really want to cram 2 into 1. And I noticed our local college that we have a good portion of our students come from, they, like, December 12th or 13th was their last day of school, and a lot of them are out of state. And so I guess the plan was there would be less people, and so let's not run it. I was like, you know what? There might be less. It might, you know, if we think too much about numbers, it might lower our average for the semester a little bit or whatever, but I still want to do it. People will come. We'll have a 2-week series. It'll be a good time. And so we did have, possibly our lowest numbers we've had this semester, but it was still a great night. We still had over 20 students come, and we had a great time. And so I enjoyed this 2-week series we did, Closeness to God. I don't know if we talked much about it last week, but just we talked about sanctification and justification and other way around. Being justified, can't lose your salvation.
Yes, definitely the other way around.
Yeah, that's how the actual process works, and that's the way we taught it. Justification, then sanctification. So that was a good time. You and I have had some fun brainstorming sessions, getting ready for the lessons, and we talked about a guy cutting his arm off and stuff like that, so it was a good time.
That is true. If you don't know the story of Aaron Ralston, just Google Aaron Ralston, 127 hours, a hiker that cut his hand off when he got stuck in a boulder. Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm glad that we rethought our last late night of the school year, because college ministry is just like that. You know, like some of them are on break, but then you've got kids who went away from college and they're back. So, like, you connected with some of those kids last night. I'm thinking of Owen in particular. Like,
yeah.
And so I think it was worth it. Because, like, again, numbers are something, but they're not everything. And so if you had a low night, but you still had some really great ministry opportunities, like, that's worth it.
And we had a new person.
And it wasn't like
first timer.
It wasn't like we normally have 200 kids and last night we had 2. Like, it was not that far off. It just happened to be our lowest night attendance wise. So yeah, you had a guest, you had some kids that you haven't seen in 3 months. Like, it was worth it for sure.
It was our lowest night, but a year ago We would have been celebrating
Yes.
because it would have been one of our highest nights.
That is true. Our ceiling, I think, is endless in some ways, but our floor has definitely been raised in terms of our bottom attendance numbers. So that's good. But yeah, this series was good. I haven't processed it a ton in terms of like, would I do something different next time? Maybe it needs to be a longer series. Maybe it was just right. I don't know. I feel like we were just doing too much. Oh, well, you said you didn't really use a lot of the like pithy titling and taglines and stuff in college ministry that I used in student ministry, right?
Yeah, I kind of I kept the title yesterday.
Okay, you did.
In search of full bars, and so then I just kind of pretended like, because we had one new person and a couple people. Nadia was there. She hasn't been here since like this whole school year, but
Really?
yeah, she came back.
Oh.
She's been like at Southeastern or something. She's been at school,
Oh,
but she
good.
came back.
I'm glad she's back.
But it might have just been for 1 week. But you know, there were people that weren't there last week, and so I kind of used that to my advantage to say, if you weren't here last week, the series title is Close Call. We're using some like phone call metaphors and analogies about being close to God, and so this week is about how you're in search of full bars because you want to be closer to Jesus. And so I ended up kind of cramming it all in together, but I didn't quite do as much as you did from the start.
Yeah, well, I felt like the content was good because we did John 10, week 1, assurance of salvation, eternal security, whatever you want to call it, which that is, I know that's up for debate in some ways in some Christian circles, but not in my mind. Like, once you're saved, you're always saved. And you should teach that to the next generation because they doubt that a lot. So, but that's where we started. It was John 10, eternal security. And then last night we were in John 15, growing in your faith. So it's pretty simple, like good content. But I felt like the stuff that surrounded it, I felt like we may have tried to do too much in terms of like the series title was Close Call, which really means like a near-death experience. Like, oh man, close call. But then we didn't talk about it like that. We talked about it like the call to follow Jesus is a call to be close to Jesus. So it's not like close call like a near-death experience. It's like a call from a friend that you want to be close to, which isn't quite how the phrase is used in culture. And then we had a series memory verse and another series saying about like you're as close to God as you want to be. And then the series like color scheme and everything was like red and green just because like, oh, it's Christmas time, so let's just do Christmas stuff. It's like the series bumper video had like Christmas music behind it, and like, so I just felt like we did a whole bunch of random stuff around the content that sort of connected but wasn't maybe as clear as it could have been. So like I think our Hot Topics series was probably the most coherent in terms of like the series title I think was like just Hot Topics, and then it was like tackling today's hot topics, and the series color was orange, and the series snack was Flamin' Hot Cheetos, and the bumper video was like emergency sounding sirens with like a mercury rising temperature gauge or whatever. And it was just very straightforward and very clear and very coherent and cohesive what we were trying to do in that series as we tackled several hot topics. But like I felt like this series, Close Call, I think we just mixed metaphors and tried to do a little too much, and we probably could have kept it simpler, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
I don't think it was a fail necessarily. Like, I mean, I watched back the sermon from last week. I'm excited to watch back the sermon from last night later today, because I'm weird like that. I watch every sermon every time, and I'm interested to see how it landed as a listener rather than a preacher. But I don't know. I just felt like overall we may have done a little too much. But that's just my own gut. I haven't gotten any feedback like that from like volunteers or students or anything. So, anyways, I thought it was good. Last night was so yeah, and I haven't even mentioned titles yet. I mentioned the title of the series, like the title of the messages. Like last week was You're on a Secure Line, Eternal Security. And last night was In Search of Full Bars, like growing in your faith, growing closer to God once you answer the call. So just a lot of mixed metaphors. But anyways, last night was How to Grow in Your Faith, John 15. I was a little unsure, John 15, 1 through 5, like how we were going to organize our thoughts and our points until we had a good brainstorm on Tuesday, and came away with some pretty clear points that flowed together, and I felt better about it then. I think I preached a little too long last night. Again, I'm kind of interested to see the video come out and see how long it actually was, but felt like I went a little long, but it was good. Overall, good series. Good series. So, I had fun. We had a lot of fun, like, outside the service. You know, we had Little Debbie's Christmas cakes, and we had the Santa Claus movie playing on the screen, and we had Christmas music, and we had a ugly sweater contest last night, and that was a ton of fun. It's like we just had a bunch of fun, like, during the Christmas season outside of the service too. But I thought last night was great. I guess I'm excited to see a lot of things later today. I'm excited to see our attendance numbers later on, because I think our crowd was a little bigger than last week even. And so if that's the case, then last week and last night compared to these 2 nights in December of 2023 are way up, which I'm excited for. So all good things last night. All good things.
All good things. I'm bummed that I didn't put the time into finding my sweater, because we recently moved and I have this Patriots sweater that's technically an ugly sweater. I think it looks dope with or without the Patriots logos. I like the design on it. But I was going to wear that. I couldn't find it. Didn't really give myself a long time frame to search for it. We have like these vacuum sealed bags with clothes like under our beds and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so it's not super organized, but it's not as bad as I'm making it sound. Maybe it's not a mess. They're just under the bed. But also, it was hot yesterday, man. I was actually glad I wasn't wearing a sweater.
It was so hot.
I was wearing not a t-shirt. I was wearing a collared short sleeve shirt, and I was hot, man.
So in case you're wondering, in Leesburg, Florida, on December 18th, 2024, it was in the 80s. And that's when we did our sweater contest.
Yeah.
Ugh, gosh. Other than that, last night was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's finish up. Let's talk about goals a little bit, because we talked about it at coffee this morning, so it's just kind of top of mind. So, I guess kind of to repeat some of the stuff we talked about at coffee this morning, what's a good framework for setting goals? And then are there any goals we could set for ourselves or our ministry while we're here? So in terms of like the goal setting process or the goal setting framework, what are some keys for you?
Well, I'm going to take a quote from you. I don't know where you got it from, but I did use it in my sermon last night. That's something I need to hear, and people need to hear as New Year's resolutions come around and you have these big lofty goals of like dramatically changing your patterns and habits, and that just setting yourself up to fail. But you can tell me if you know who this came from, or if it's a Garrett Haywood original. It's like we often overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 10 years.
Yeah.
Whatever numbers you want to put in there, like we, instead of being patient and like putting instant gratification to the side and like working hard at something and just see the fruit way down the road, like we want the results or it's not going to last.
Yeah, I think I got that from Craig Groeschel.
Okay.
I don't know. It sounds like something that might be original to him. I don't know if he got some from somewhere else, but wherever it comes from, it's very true.
Yeah.
So, which reminds me, I forgot to mention it in my sermon. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
I noticed that when I was prepping after you preached. I'm like, I don't think you used this, but I'm going to.
Yeah, I put it in there and then totally forgot. So
but you mentioned Tom Brady and I didn't, so it evens out.
Yeah, exactly. About the same. It is true. Like, when it comes to goal setting, often we, what's the saying? Like our eyes are bigger than our stomachs. That's a saying too, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think we often bite off more than we can chew in a given year, and you try to do too much and you end up doing nothing, whereas it'd be better to try to do something and accomplish something. It's kind of a dumb way to put it, but it's very true. And so I think, take small steps year over year, and you'll look back in 5 or 10 years and be like, man, I actually did it, rather than trying to do it all in 1 year and look back and be like, man, I did nothing, or I even took a step back because I was so frustrated and discouraged or whatever. So take it slow for sure. I think in goal setting, something else that was discussed this morning, I would recommend the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, which It's written by, I need to look it up. It's by the Covey Foundation, like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but it's not written by Covey. It's written by
Craig Rochelle.
No.
Just stalling for you.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Let me talk about sweaters.
I'll find it eventually. But anyways, it basically says, like, I didn't use the technical terms in coffee this morning because I didn't want to sound like a nerd, but there's lag measures and lead measures, and oftentimes we set goals that are lag measures when we need to set goals that are lead measures. And weight loss is like exhibit A. So like, let's say you, just for round number sake, let's say you weigh 300 pounds, okay, and you want to weigh 250
You didn't
pounds.
have to tell everybody.
Yeah, sorry. I revealed your weight on there. He's not actually 300 pounds, by the way. 'Cause we don't have a YouTube version. They can't see your six pack.
That'll be our. We would need a YouTube version from 2022 if they want to see my 6'9".
Oh yeah, 2012 for me. So, but like weight loss is exhibit A. So let's say you weigh 300 pounds, you want to weigh 250 pounds. So your goal is to lose 50 pounds. Okay. The thing is, like, you can't just set a goal. I want to lose 50 pounds, and then just like push your shoulder to the wall and try to lose 50 pounds. You're not gonna do it. Like that's not actionable. Like, it'd be nice to lose 50 pounds. That's a cool goal, but that goal is influenced by other goals that are in your control. And so, like, if you want to lose 50 pounds, well, then your goal should be every day I'm not going to eat more than 2,000 calories, and every week I'm going to work out for 3 sessions of 30 minutes or whatever. And over time, that'll lead to me losing 50 pounds, if that makes sense. So, like, you can't actually control your weight loss, but you can control some other things that lead to weight loss. And so you set goals that are lead measures that eventually lead to lag measures, which would be weight loss. So, like, another example would be attendance in your ministry. Like 100 is a round number as well, okay? It's like, let's say you want to see 100 students attending your weekly gathering on Wednesday night or Sunday morning or whatever, okay? Well, you can't control who shows up and who doesn't, but you can control, like, okay, I'm going to make sure that I send out a weekly newsletter once a week. I'm going to make sure that I call 5 parents every week. I'm going to make sure that I text 5 students once a week. I'm going to make sure that I do these 6 or 7 things every week that I can control that are lead measures. And if I set the goal and accomplish it and actually do those things, they will lead to the lag measure of higher attendance. And so to me, that's a helpful framework for goal setting. That book, 4 Disciplines of Execution, it's really helped me in terms of, like, how do you actually set goals? Well, you set goals that you can control that lead to the goals you really want to see, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know if you have any like thoughts or comments or questions about that while I look up the author of this book.
Yeah, I have just consistently in my life been an example of doing that, like, the wrong way. Like I would, all jokes aside, I'd like to get into a little bit better shape, whatever that looks like, to a certain number on the scale or whatever. But I don't really set goals to where, like, I'm not going to get Taco Bell for dinner, and I'm going to, saving money and eating healthier is like a 2-for-1 that I would like to do. But I'm much more excited to think about the results of that than I am actually setting a plan in place to get there. And so it's very helpful to, like, hear that kind of framework. I'd get that book.
Yeah, it's really good, really simple. Chris McChesney.
Check the link in the bio.
McChesney. I'll put the link in the bio, sure, or the description. McChesney. He works for Covey. So, really good book, really helpful framework. And so let's pretend, or maybe not pretend. Like, let's say our goal in 2025, our lag measure in 2025 is we want to see an average of 100 students attending our stuff. Okay. Let's just use round numbers. Let's say that's our lag measure. What should our lead measures be? What should our actual goals be? The stuff that we can control. What do you think? It's not a quiz. Like, I'm brainstorming out loud with you.
You're good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think something that we've talked about a lot on here that's been effective that we might not be able to do until next fall, but like the student takeover stuff, like giving students leadership in many different ways. But one, in the way that we did in our takeover month, is having them preach and do more things that are like involving them there. That was a way, at least for a night, to get some people to come. I don't know if we have stats on if somebody came because it was student takeover and then they've been coming ever since, but like that was a way to get more people to like attend the ministry. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't preach ever again. We should have our students do it, and so our numbers boost up 10 or 20 per week. But doing, I don't want to be too flashy, but like doing things that like draw some attention and get people curious about coming. Maybe I'm just brainstorming off the top of my dome.
Yeah, so like I think that's the right train of thought, but I think even like just to take that even further, like I think we probably would need to be even more specific and not say like, all right, if we want to average 100 students at our stuff every time we gather, then that's our lag measure. That's the result we want. Then our lead measure should be more student leadership. Well, we probably need to be even more specific and say like if we want to average 100 students every time we gather for whatever we're gathering for, then we need 10% of our preaching opportunities every calendar year to be filled by students. Like be like very specific with like, and that way when we map out our preaching opportunities for 2025 and we say, okay, we have 29 preaching opportunities. I don't know what the number is, but we have 29 preaching opportunities. Okay, call it 30. So we need 3 student preachers, because we believe that if 10% of our preaching ops are student-led, then that'll help us get to our attendance goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like we got to get like very, very specific with our goals when it comes to lead measures and stuff that we can control, and pray that they lead to some good lag measures. So anyways, trying to think of what else could, I think school outreach has been it's been a focus for us.
Yeah.
I would say probably like a lead measure could be like just to be present. It's like pick your target schools, whatever your target schools are. For us, we have 5. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess if you split the villages into middle school, high school, we'd have 6.
Yeah.
But call it 5 for the sake of this argument. So like you could pick your target schools and say like, I want to be physically present on all 5 of my target schools. I want to be present on all 5 of those campuses once a month. And so like I got 5 schools, then I got to be present on each of them once a month. Like that's a lead measure that you could control. And then prayerfully, it would lead to a lag measure of students from those schools start to come to your stuff. And not just come to your stuff, but start to engage with Jesus and the Bible and church and stuff. So that's another good lead measure. So we might need to start thinking through some of those for our ministry.
Yeah.
So what about for college? Any goals you could set there? Or
I think kind of similar to the couple things we discussed for student ministry. I think it has helped the health of the ministry that like once a month I've been having a guest preacher come in, and part of it is giving some students the opportunity to preach, and just a couple of them are other like good friends of mine that can really have an impact. But something I have not done as much as I was thinking I would this semester is the school outreach, being present on campus at the couple local colleges and the Lake Sumter's FCA. Like I got plugged in at the end of the spring and was like, man, like next school year I'm going to come to all their stuff. I'm going to be so plugged in, and didn't really set. I eventually got a schedule and stuff like that. But that's another example of it was more exciting than it was actually executed well. So that's something I think would be effective for the ministry if I'm present more like at Lake Sumter at their FCAs and the campus, whatever way, because I have good connections there. I need to use that.
I think even like, again, like I'm probably getting annoying with how often I say be specific, but like I think it would be more than just like be present at the campuses, but like I want to be I want to be in the Beacon College Student Lounge twice a month, and I want to be in the Lake Sumter College Student Lounge twice a month. So I should be on a college campus a total of 4 times a month, twice at Beacon, twice at Lake Sumter. Now, if you go more, that's great, but like minimum, I want to do twice a month in each lounge. And when I get there, I want to meet 5 new people every time or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Those are my lead measures of like, I got to show up twice a month and I got to shake 5 new hands every time I go. I can control that. I can make sure that I do that. And then prayerfully, what will lag behind is new guests coming to our stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
And so that's where like the goal setting, you can make it extremely specific and therefore extremely controllable, and hopefully it produces the results that you're looking for. And the author McChesney in the book, he talks about like a lever almost, like if you're trying to move a boulder, which I felt like I was trying to move a boulder on Monday. We tore down that stage. Oh my gosh. But like if you're trying to move
like Aaron Ralston.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. If you're trying to move a boulder, like you don't just push it. Like it's not gonna go anywhere. It's kind of like if I'm trying to lose 50 pounds, I don't just try to lose 50 pounds. Nothing's gonna happen. Like you don't just push a boulder. Like you try to find a lever that you can shove under the boulder and move it. And that's what lead measures are. Is you keep trying to find the right lever. Like if I shove this lever under the boulder, does it move? And so like you try one lever for a season. Like, all right, I'm gonna go to Lake Sumter Lounge twice a month and Beacon Lounge twice a month and meet 5 new people every time. And I'm going to shove that lever under the boulder for 3 months and see what happens. And if the boulder doesn't move, then you need a new lever. Or if the boulder's starting to budge, then keep pressing on that lever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I really like that imagery of like a boulder doesn't move when you just put your hands on it and push. Like you got to shove a lever under the boulder and then find the right lever. But you got to give a lever a big enough sample size before you know whether or not it's the right lever. And so that imagery has helped me a lot as well. It's like the boulder is the true result that you want, but the boulder is the lag measure. The boulder is the 50 pounds of weight loss or whatever, but what's the lever? Are you shoving, 3 workouts a week under the boulder, and is the boulder moving? No? Okay, we'll try something else, So that's been a helpful framework for me.
I like that.
Okay. Cool. Well, I guess I'll close with this. Like the leader, the champion of our little monthly coffees with youth pastors. He said, I felt like, he's like, I felt like I didn't accomplish any goals this year because I didn't set any, and I felt like that was really transparent, and I kind of identified with that because I didn't either. And so like he said that, and I was like, yeah, me too. And as the old saying goes, like when you aim at nothing, you hit it every time. And so if you want to accomplish some goals next year, then you got to set some goals. And so I was like honestly kind of challenged this morning to set some goals, and that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it here and just kind of continue the conversation, continue the thought process about some goals to set for 2025. But I don't want to be too ambitious when I set my personal goals or too ambitious when I set my ministry goals. I want them to be achievable because I don't want to try to shoot for the moon and accomplish nothing. I want to shoot for something and hit it. And so trying to be reasonable with it. But I definitely identified with that statement. Like, I felt like I didn't achieve any goals this year because I didn't set any. Like, yeah, me either. So I don't want it to be that way in 2025. So I thought that was really helpful this morning. So any closing thoughts on goals?
Just set the goal to read 25 books next year.
Yeah, I'll probably do 26, I'll just do like 12 pages a day.
The year plus one.
Wake up at 4:20 a.m.,
4:30.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got to get 8 hours. So,
okay. No, it was good. I was encouraged by that too. That and just it kind of flowed from our messages from last night, but kind of just how I led this portion of the conversation is I'm encouraged to not just box myself in on doing huge things in 1 year, but like in 2035, how will I feel the effects of what I start doing next year? And in 2030 and 2027, like it'll be great to accomplish things next year, but what patterns can I set that are going to really make an impact 5, 10 plus years down the road?
Yeah, that's good. Yep. Yeah, most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10, so that's good. All right, well, set some goals for yourself, set some goals for your family, set some goals for your ministry, do it, and it's going to help you a lot. So, hey, this has been another episode of Effective Student Ministry. This is Garrett.
This is Mitch.
See ya.
Love you.
Next time.
Christmas.
Love you next time. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas,
Happy
everybody.
New Year.
And Happy New Year.
We'll see you in January.
Yeah, we'll see you in January.
2025.
We'll see you next year.
Can't wait to hear about your goals.
Yeah, sounds great. I don't know if I'm going to keep all that. That was so dumb.